Truth is stranger than fiction. And this is the truth. I don't really remember how old I was, but I used to be kind of creeped out. And even so, J.T. Sailors of Memphis, Tennessee could do gurning, and I thought he was funny, even back then. And this book I'm holding, The World of Ripley's, believe it or not, is one that I will upload soon. And without getting sad about it, I've been a fan for so long, I will eventually, as luck will have it, visit either Myrtle Beach and Times Square and record their tours too, because before that, I've had a movie concept in mind. And it's grown so powerful that I had to start writing Millie Knox, inspired by Ripley. So it's not even done yet, so keep waiting for it. It's clearly a tribute to it, because you think otherwise it'd be kind of hard to make a movie out of all this, because the museums are pretty much of the result. And I think about the adventure like on a fantastical Indiana Jones Tintin kind of scale. And most bittersweetly, I've done some research on this, and I've found out Tim Burton and Jim Carrey almost did a film together. But in the most bittersweet move of his career, Tim Burton did Sweeney Todd instead, which is my favorite film of his, and I've grown up with both of their films. So I'm not sure what to think of that. Well, my opening scene for Millie Knox is clearly a tribute, so because the stuff involved, it doesn't really give a plot, but the themes for the different rooms and the pinball machine picture, and there's even a cartoon I think about Robert Ripley's cousin Michael Ripley. I don't know if he's fictional or not, but definitely an adventure flavor, you know. Even though the books repeat stuff. And like Tintin and Peanuts movie, I think about the opening credits and end credits would have the comics style, the way he himself drew it. And I think it would end, the opening credits would end, it would pan out, it would say directed by whoever, like Julie Taymor or Tarsem or Terry Gilliam or Barry Sonnenfeld, or just really experienced directors. Say, I could ask anybody, or of course, if you've been following my channel, I might as well mention Guillermo del Toro. He's pretty much a personal favorite. I'd have do it. And even though I mentioned Tim Burton, he's my favorite director of if I had to pick one. So, like, I'm thinking more about the vintage comics, like this. Oh, I can't really hold the angle right on here, but because I had to turn the camera towards me. Or the Lindbergh cartoon, The Most Doubted One. You'll see it's better when I upload it. But just the vintage of creepier, eerier comics that are more wild. And that's pretty much my concept for Millie Knox. She goes through all this and just finds it, and nothing's predictable. And I thought of a plot finally for it, so because I had a friend draw it for me. And he's not a big enough star, but I think if anybody knows who I mean, I think Harland Williams should play Ripley. And I think that the film would open after the opening credits, like the comics, like with his old show late in his career that said, it was the black and white title card that said "Believe It or Not" in white, and it showed the swing music. And he wasn't a seasoned talker. I think Bruce Campbell was the best host, the funniest, as good as Dean Cain was. He wasn't really a seasoned speaker. He seemed shy. Like, excuse me, trying to. Here, I think he's a dead ringer for him. And he's also in the thumbnail of the second part of my tour. And I think that Rainforest Room, I think that's like pure Spielberg spirit there, you know? As hard as it would be, as long as it would take, it would be like probably based on the Riddle of Master Lu, the computer game. And I can pretty much do something with that myself with my story, because it's already got China introduced in a way. And I know he was a baseball player before he was a cartoonist, because he did the sports column. There's a whole history of it in the beginning of the World of Ripley's, believe it or not. And I actually got into it finally. I grew a passion for it in high school, about 2007 or so. And I think it would just be much more than just the old shorts of him talking about this strange stuff without a plot. It's as if I had said he's more of an adventure character, like less about him and more about how he finds this stuff, and probably some of the attractions in the tours. Like, I got some ideas that I will include in my story that you'll pick up on if you watch the tour too. I don't want to say too much. I just pretty much, it speaks for itself. because of the opening. The first scene of of it is a whole village of these guys. So I don't know, if you just look up the other directors I mentioned, I think you'll pretty much see a style that makes it possible. Like, there are very similar films of it already, like The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus and The Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe and Big Fish. I think more about it's more of my vision is pretty much more like this stuff already exists, like it's been going on, and a bit like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, except without of Looney Tunes and Disney and pretty much every cartoon character you can think of, like coexisting. But I think more like just weird stuff being around so much that it's not weird anymore, and the adventure calls for that. So it's kind of hard to balance that in a plot, you know? That's probably why it's taking me so long to write. And I think we'll be set up for a whole franchise, really. I didn't really get to find out much about what Tim Burton's movie was almost about. So make it my own. My style is already playful already, so this is like daily inspiration because I'm always giving the comics to my mother every day on the online comic strip, and I hang on to them. So it's a wealth of information. Most of it's about science, and they can be subject to be outdated, which is why it's a bit harder. And I could have Millie Knox travel through time like she's in control of it. And my tour's already like the length of a film, so I pretty much got it up as the movie so far. I think John Williams or Danny Elfman would do the music, kind of like the end credits of Stain Boy, that kind of wavy, shocky B-movie kind of music. Like, I don't know if you heard his music, you know what I'm talking about. Really, Harland Williams, he's the only one I can think of that looks like him that much, you know? Like, if you look up, he's the guy at the desk in the music video of Falling for the Very First Time, Bare Naked Ladies. And I think he's related to them. And I have ideas like he'd draw something and it would move on its own, kind of like stop motion. I don't know. I just think of stuff that's not plot related. You know, it's easier to, but just them showing off what they can do. It doesn't really move a plot. So it's about finding them along the way to something else. Like, it sounds a bit like a Temple of Doom ripoff, but not really rip off, but inspiration. Just find one thing to save a village. So, could be a Chinese horn. That's a small reveal that I'm thinking of. But when it's ready, I will narrate it. I just got to think about how do the landscapes look like the comics. And kind of a darker tinge and more bold lettering when I write it. So you think it would have caught on by now, but at least it will be done by a passion. It wouldn't be done for, just a factory of something that wouldn't be done justice. But there's so many books that I collected, but I think I'll start with this one to upload. But I hope I'm inspiring as much as this has me, so that's why they say if you can't find a book you want to read, write it yourself. Strange but true that I'm on my way. If anybody wants me to talk more about this, I guess let me know.